Ladies and gentlemen, there is one thing which I've consistently opined on this particular platform, that in politics, nothing happens out of mere coincidence. And that everything in politics is normally well planned, well scripted, and executed to achieve a specific political objective. Nothing in politics just happen for the sake of it. Why is Jeremiah Kioni insisting that Fred Matiang'i will be Jubilee candidate in 2027? Why is he insisting? Because personally, I've talked to very close allies of Fred Matiang'i, and what they've told me is totally different from what Jeremiah Kioni is telling us. In fact, according to them, Fred Matiang'i already has a party, and that party has a governor in Nyamira and a member of parliament in the entire Gusii region, and it has several MCAs. And what the Gusii community are currently doing is that most of them are trooping to that particular party. The truth of the matter is that ODM party is going to be a big casualty of that particular move, because Gusii region is going to be that particular party. But why is Jeremiah Kioni insisting that Jubilee Party will sponsor Fred Matiang'i? In this video, I want us to look at three things. The first thing I want us to look at is why Jeremiah Kioni is insisting that Fred Matiang'i will be their candidate. The second thing I'm going to look at is whether Fred Matiang'i should accept the offer by Jubilee Party to be their candidate. And lastly, why personally I strongly believe that Fred Matiang'i should not accept that offer. Before you do that, for those who are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support, because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, allow me to dive in. First of all, let us listen to Jeremiah Kioni insisting that Fred Matiang'i will be Jubilee candidate.
As a party, not to mean that he becomes the eventual presidential candidate, but a presidential candidate within the party who will then join others in coming up with one person who I believe as a coalition or as people in the opposition, we should be able to back. And I see you looking at me like you want me to mention the name. And I don't need to mention the name. You can mention the name. Ni jina gani wamesema? Matiangi. Wao wenyewe wameamua wanataka Matiangi as their presidential candidate.
That's Jeremiah Kioni. First of all, why is he insisting? For me, Jeremiah Kioni is insisting because of three main reasons. Number one, Jubilee Party is trying to counter Rigathi Gachagwa's influence in the mountain. The truth of the matter is that the rise of Rigathi Gachagua in the mountain shocked Uhuru Kenyatta. Because by the time Rigathi Gachagua was rising, even Rigathi Gachagua had accepted Uhuru Kenyatta as Mount Kenya kingpin. By that time, Uhuru Kenyatta's graph in the mountain was so high. I'm not so sure today, if an opinion poll were to be conducted in the mountain, whether Uhuru will be up higher in terms of ranking and popularity more than Rigathi Gachagua. So they want to try and counter Rigathi Gachagua, because the truth is Rigathi Gachagua will not be a presidential candidate. Rigathi Gachagua is consolidating the mountain so that he can deliver the mountain to a particular candidate. Uhuru Kenyatta through Jubilee are also saying, let us also consolidate our support base for Fred Matiang'i. Number two, if you were to look at Jubilee as a political party critically, as we speak today, Jubilee cannot produce a credible candidate in 2027. So for them to survive politically speaking, they must look for a candidate. And that candidate is Matiangi. Why? Because Matiangi is acceptable in that region. Number two, Matiangi worked with Uhuru Kenyatta, so Uhuru has confidence in him. And also, number three, Jubilee Party would also want to be on the negotiating table. You can only be on the negotiating table if you bring on board perceived numbers. Now with Uhuru Kenyatta, presumably the kingpin of the mountain, bringing Matiangi with the Gusii, those numbers will be perceived to be there. But should Matiangi accept that offer? Let me repeat, should Matiangi accept that offer? Let me know in your comment section. Do you think Matiangi should accept the offer to be Jubilee candidate? Because that offer is also very sweet. It's a good offer. Should he accept it? Why is the offer sweet? Let me explain to you just 3 reasons why I believe the offer is so sweet. There's this perception about numbers. Now, in the last election, despite the fact that Raila Odinga was not really loved or accepted in the mountain, if you are to take a pen and a paper, you'll realize that the mountain gave Raila Odinga close to over 1 million votes. Now you bring Matiangi, who is not Raila, and the environment in the mountain has also changed a bit, because that time it was clearly pro-Ruto. It has changed a bit. It's lucrative. There are low-lying fruits there. So those numbers, if you are to sit down and calculate, you'll agree that William Ruto has lost close to 4 million votes from the mountain. So any serious presidential candidate would want to eat into that voting block. So it's tempting for Fred Matiang'i, because if you have to look at the numbers, the Gusii and the Kikuyus outweighs the Gusii in terms of numbers. So it's very lucrative. You can say, if I have the 2 million from the Gusii region and I get 2 or 3 million from the Kikuyu nation, then I have 5 million. So why don't I just accept this offer? So it's very lucrative. Number 2, there is also the aspect of the finance. Uhuru Kenyatta is one of the richest individuals in the Republic of Kenya today, which means Uhuru Kenyatta can personally finance that campaign. Because Uhuru Kenyatta was the president of the Republic of Kenya for 10 good years. Uhuru Kenyatta also knows those who have the money, who he can link with Matiangi and support his bid. Of course, you also know the Mount Kenya tycoons. They listen to Uhuru Kenyatta more than Rigathi, even William Ruto. So Uhuru Kenyatta can round them up and ask them to support Matiangi, which means when it comes to finance, because the 2027 presidential elections in the Republic of Kenya is going to be the most expensive election in the Republic of Kenya. So it's very tempting to accept that offer because of the finance. And of course, lastly, that offer is also very tempting because Uhuru Kenyatta contested under KANU. He was the KANU chairman. He contested under TNA or Jubilee Party for that matter. Which means Uhuru Kenyatta still has those networks. He can activate the Jubilee. He can activate the Jubilee networks or the TNA networks. Uhuru can activate the KANU networks, which means Uhuru Kenyatta, wherever he sits, he can call one of his guys from Kisumu here. He can call one of his guys from Tana River and link them up with Fred Matiang'i. He knows those people. So he can use those grassroots networks, the KANU and Jubilee. And those networks, Fred Matiang'i needs them because, Fred Matiang'i has never contested for anything, politically speaking. He doesn't have any network. If he has to have one, he will have to create and ride on the goodwill of the Republic of Kenya or the goodwill of Kenyans to contest. So because of those 3 reasons, the offer by Jubilee Party is very lucrative. But the biggest question is, should he accept it? Should he accept it? If I were Fred Matiang'i, I would not accept the offer to be Jubilee candidate. I'm very specific, Jubilee candidate. Why? Number 1, the main reason why Matiang'i can accept Jubilee candidate is the perceived number of the mountain. Now, let us go to the mountain. Is there Jubilee in Mount Kenya? I doubt. In Mount Kenya today, the person who is calling the shots is none other than Rigathi Gachagua. So which means if Matiang'i were to form any alliance with the mountain, if he has to enter any agreement with the mountain, then it should be through, in my view, through Rigathi Gachagua. Because that's where the future of the mountain lies. So instead of becoming Uhuru Kenyatta's project, he would rather become Rigathi Gachagwa's project. Because Rigathi Gachagua currently is viewed as rebel. And Kenyans tend to love rebels. So for me, because of that, because of the fact that Mount Kenya is under the grip of Rigathi Gachagua and not Uhuru Kenyatta, it would make no sense for Matiangi to follow Uhuru Kenyatta. That's number one. Number two, and I explained this in one of my earlier videos, that there's a way Kenyans hate anything in the name of project. Raila was rejected because he was perceived to be a project of Uhuru. Uhuru was rejected when he was perceived to be a project of Moi. The moment Rigathi Gachagua will accept the offer of Jubilee Party, he will be branded Uhuru Kenyatta's project. If that were to happen, he will not survive the onslaught. So he would rather join Rigathi or stay with his own political party. Number three, I think what Jeremiah Kioni is trying to do is that they are trying to get a candidate to help them fight proxy wars in the mountain. Because let's face it, why is Jeremiah Kioni so keen, as we speak, on identifying a presidential candidate, when the primary objective for them right now, if they are keen on stopping Ruto, is to consolidate the mountain? He's not even consolidating the mountain. What Jeremiah Kioni is saying, let us have Matiangi as our presidential candidate. Why can't Jeremiah Kioni agree with Rigathi Gachagua that, we have to kick William Ruto out because William Ruto is our enemy? Let us kick William Ruto out first of the mountain. Then we can agree on the candidate. You guys bring Kalonzo, let us bring Matiangi. Let us conduct opinion polling to figure out who is the best and also listen to the ground. But he's not doing that. He's just in every forum, Matiangi. So because he wants Matiangi to help them fight Rigathi Gachagua in the mountain, because Rigathi is actually going with the ground in the mountain. Because of that, Matiangi should not be part of that. Let me give you number 4. Uhuru Kenyatta failed to manage Jubilee Party when he was the president. That's why even his own member of parliament, my friend Moses Kuria, left. Uhuru Kenyatta, in my view, has not made attempt to manage Jubilee Party even today. As we speak, Jubilee Party has members of parliament. How many are swearing their allegiance to Uhuru Kenyatta? How many? 0. And because Uhuru Kenyatta has failed to manage Jubilee, I don't think that is the right party. I don't think Matiangi would rather manage his own political party in the manner he understands. And lastly, I also think that for Matiangi to win, he needs the support of the ODM bases. And the support of this ODM bases, he can actually win them if the party is not Jubilee. If, for example, he were to come with that party, his own political party, ODM will mismanage their nominations in Western Kenya. Ruto is banking on Western Kenya Alliance. Of course, the Western Alliance will see Matiangi as a credible candidate because right now, William Ruto, as much as he's trying, is still very unpopular on the ground. So for him to win ODM support bases first, he cannot do that through Jubilee. That one I can guarantee him. Unless his calculation is that he's going to be the presidential candidate on that coalition of Rigathi, Kalonzo, himself, and Uhuru. Then he can forget about this side, focus on the Gusii, and focus on those who will not be voting for Ruto, then focus on the mountain and Ukambani. With that, he will. But Going to Jubilee? No. He will lose the ODM support base. Let me give you a bonus. Jubilee Party failed. The reason Raila Odinga had difficulty in campaigning was as a result of Jubilee failures. Raila Odinga carried the burden of Jubilee failures. Kenyans can excuse Matiangi because they viewed him as one of the performers in that government. But if you are to become a project of that government, he will carry the burden of Jubilee failures. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what you think. That's my take. Until next time, bye-bye. By the way, I've enjoyed the video. Hopefully you too have enjoyed it. And until next time, this is Lee Makwiny. Bye-bye.